I know, I basically just pushed the go button and like we're just starting. Normally I have a, sorry for the clatter, normally I have a like 5-10 minute window, whatever, waiting for people to kind of like file in. But I figured we may as well start listening to some of these stories.
8 Stories from Mousewood by Matt Kempke.
Yes.
Read by Rob Quirk.
Yes. Why not? Instead of just music, why not make it a little more interesting, you know? Like double check, make sure we're still playing.
The first story. Of mice, squirrels, and Mousewood Forest. Somewhere, tucked away between faraway fields and winding paths, there lies a forest crowded with mice and squirrels. So crowded, in fact, that even a mighty wizard with an even mightier beard couldn't wander the forest's paths without being asked by some tiny rodents for a lift, because they wanted to visit relatives who moved 3 clearings down the road a few years ago because there were gooseberries over there. And because there are so many mice, the forest is known as Mousewood Forest. But something was going on in the otherwise tranquil Mousewood Forest. A forest so peaceful that at noon all you would sense was the soft rustle of the wind in the treetops, the sweet scent of the pine needles, and a lone buzzing bee skipping its lunch break. Yes, something in this tranquil forest was disturbing the peace. For a few days now, some furry, fairly unhappy red squirrels had refused to refer to the forest as Mousewood Forest. The squirrels, as they saw it, were narrowly outnumbered by the grey mice. Why, they wondered, should Mousewood Forest only be known as Mousewood Forest? So they made a great effort to remind visitors out for a Sunday walk or a picnic that there were not only small grey mice.
Sorry, and I just want to make sure that this is kind of boosted a little bit. Not that.
Startled when suddenly something pops out in front of them from behind something. This may lead to them no longer thinking about Mousewood Forest. Just as well be a different name. Instead, they may flee, never to return. Or they may even scream and shout, since they weren't expecting to be startled. Those who run away never to return, the squirrels reckoned, would probably call fair Mousewood Forest by its name, which might just as well be a different name. A startled, fleeing rambler might even call Mousewood Forest "Don't go there." And that, the squirrels concluded, would be even less desirable than Mousewood Forest. If people started screaming when startled by a small auburn animal, the serenity of the forest would be lost for good. And neither the squirrels nor the countless other forest dwellers, not even the inhabitants of Mousewood, Mousewood Forest's capital, would want that. For serenity in a forest is no ordinary silence, like in a boring, noiseless room, but a cacophony of many tiny, likeable sounds. The wind wafting through the leaves, twigs clicking in the canopy, rustling down in the undergrowth, and the gentle creaking of towering trunks. So, if the squirrels wanted to purposely pop out from behind something, they had to be careful about doing it, without scaring anybody off or disturbing the forest's serenity. Those who know squirrels are probably wondering how anyone could possibly be afraid of the little fellows at all. Well, if a small animal with a bushy red tail suddenly crossed your path, you might be briefly startled. But in an instant, you'd spot that the little animal was just as much taken by surprise as yourself. What would follow is a cautious glance and then a quick dash to safety. Then again, if a small animal with a bushy red tail and beady eyes leapt out in front of you when you're roaming the woods, and you happened to notice, after a fleeting moment of fright, that this squirrel was actually up to something, that it was standing in the way of somebody so much taller than itself on purpose, then such a small animal must surely be capable of anything. It had probably run up to you really fast, climb up your legs and back until it reached the top of your head, and then start furiously tousling your hair with its tiny paws. In anticipation of this, anybody would run or scream, assuming they don't actually like getting their hair tousled by squirrels who are up to something. Since squirrels are generally not very fond of having their own fur tousled, they try and hide the fact that they leap out on purpose. It has to look like a coincidence.
Don't remember this in the
Even
game?
those blessed with beady eyes have to play act a bit if they want to appear surprised and shy when they in fact aren't.
Well, hello, Arch Copymancer.
Just this morning, around 9 o'clock,
These are
3 squirrels decided to practice popping out from behind something, since, as you now know, it's easier said than done. Wait for it.
Oh,
wait for it. Leap. Stop. Have a look round. Spot the rambler. Freeze. Stare at the rambler and straighten those tufted ears. Add a few skillful hops behind the next bush.
That might be why I didn't actually update my info like I thought I did. I just started. We were just gonna go. Completely forgetting that I need to... Well, Copymancer, it's so nice of you to join me on a time where I've clearly forgotten how to stream. I've clearly forgotten what do the basics. There. It's supposed to be Night of the Rabbit. Inokuni 2 was last week.
Spiral up that tree like an expert, and then watch the rambler's reaction from a safe distance. As if you really were surprised to see me. Well done, Oswald, said Edgar, one of the 3 squirrels. He had played the role of the rambler, roaming around before then getting a reminder of the striking number of squirrels living in these woods. He had held a large leaf, painted with a surprised human face, in front of him to make this training exercise as real as possible. Oswald, the 2nd squirrel, climbed nimbly down the tree, while Edward, the 3rd squirrel, who had only played the role of spectator during this run, hopped out of the nearby bushes. Yeah, really good, he confirmed. Flawless, even. Looked really realistic to me. Thanks, Oswald said. It was time to switch roles. Since Oswald already knew the ropes of popping out from behind something, it was his turn to watch from the bushes. He was in an excellent position to tell Edgar, who had just played the rambler, if he was also good at popping out from behind something, or if there was anything he could improve on. Edward just had to stroll along the path and carry the leaf with a face on it in front of him. When Edgar popped out, by chance, and confronted Edward, the latter froze as if petrified. The leaf in his paws began to shake, as did his legs and, eventually, his squirrely tail. He seemed truly shaken. Shaken like a rambler afraid of a squirrel tousling his hair. Faced with this, Edgar completely forgot that he had to act like a shy squirrel and was supposed to scurry up the next tree. Instead, he just stared, stock still, at the face painted on the shaking leaf. Edward took his role of a startled visitor very seriously. As soon as he noticed that the animal with the red bushy tail and beady eyes that had suddenly popped out in front of him wasn't in the least bit shy or frightened, he shook even more. "Ah!" he yelled, certain that this was how somebody afraid their hair was about to be tousled would yell. He turned and ran away as fast as he could. And because he was determined to be as convincing as possible, he disappeared for a few days. After waiting for a couple of hours, Edgar and Oswald were no longer in the mood to continue their training. They sat down by a small stream running through the forest and thought. They thought about training, and about the fact that thinking about training was already a good training exercise in itself, sometimes. And then they thought about acorns and nuts. After a while, a group of mice came along the bank of the stream. "Hello there. A very good day to you." "How are you?" Edgar responded. "Good day to you too," said Oswald. One of the mice stepped forward and took a small leaf with writing on it from his rucksack. After clearing his throat, the mouse began to read aloud. "Dear Squirrels, we, the mice, know you don't really like the name Mousewood Forest. Since your kind is so numerous in this forest, it might just as well be named after you. Since noticing how much effort you put into reminding people that the forest could be named differently, we wanted to invite you to a meeting where we will consider, together with the other forest dwellers, what to do about the situation." The mouse rolled up the leaf and put it back in his rucksack. Oswald and Edgar thought briefly about what the mouse had just read to them. They concluded that if they didn't have to remind people that Squirrelwood would also be a fitting name for their forest, there would be plenty of time for all sorts of other things. And Edward would surely say there was no fun in hiding for ages just to play a scared rambler convincingly in order to practice popping out from behind something. If, that is, he weren't hiding right now. So they accepted the mice's invitation and followed them along the stream until they reached a clearing where many other forest dwellers were already gathered. Mice, squirrels, hedgehogs, dwarves, hares and bears, and many more inhabitants of the forest were sitting on benches made from long branches or standing next to tables set with freshly baked blueberry pie. They were chatting about this and that, and other things. One young badger was talking to a hedgehog about fishing at the pond. A beaver was discussing the quality of lumber with the hedgehog brothers. Two little mice were playing tag with the rabbit kids, while their mothers tried to persuade a grumpy wood dwarf to reveal the recipe for a drink made with dwarf root. On a stump sat Conrad, the great owl. He was a member of the town council, and his great owl eyes looked benevolently upon the crowd of animals, dwarves, and whoever else had gathered there. "Hoot!" he called out with a deep and calm voice, instantly gaining the audience's attention. "My dear friends," he began,
Someone told me you
"as you
do a
may be
bad owl
aware,
impression.
we have gathered here to resolve the dispute about the name of our forest. I am honored to hold the chair of this assembly. Many of the squirrels among us would like to see Squirrelwood as the legitimate name for our home. Well, seeing as there are a good deal of squirrels here in our forest, their wish is hardly surprising. But let us not dwell on that." He slowly closed his eyes, only to open them again in an instant, as if he had had a sudden stroke of genius. "A forest called Mousewood Forest. What kind of forest would come to someone's mind who was, not familiar with our beloved woods?" Conrad's head turned inquisitively as his gaze wandered across the gathering. Animals, dwarves, and a few others thought hard. Oswald the squirrel's first thoughts were concerned with nuts, but he quickly realized that these had nothing to do with the name, more the fact that he really liked nuts. So he continued thinking hard and eventually called out in a low voice, "They'd probably think of a wood full of mice?" Conrad, the old owl, blinked with his left eye, with his right following shortly after. "This is indeed what someone would think when they first heard the name. Thank you, Oswald," said the owl. "But there are not only mice in these woods. There is, in fact, no such thing as a forest populated solely by mice. What sort of forest would that be if there were only mice in it?" Much murmuring ran through the assembled ranks. Even the mice had trouble imagining a forest with only mice in. Nothing but mice. "We mice can't do everything on our own," said a young mouse named Humbert, while the older mice nodded in agreement. "All on our own? Impossible," they exclaimed. "You see," said the owl calmly, "and we can't survive without you either." This he said with such conviction that some of the mice flinched. They had good reason to assume that this owl had an occasional appetite for mice, despite his wisdom and kindness.
He is an owl.
So, if someone hears the name Mousewood Forest and thinks there will only be mice, they will quickly come to the conclusion that such a thing cannot exist. Conrad balanced carefully on the stump as he spoke. "They will be aware that there must be squirrels and badgers and ants and crows and all kinds of other animals. We all need each other to survive." "But why is Mousewood Forest called Mousewood Forest anyway?" some squirrels wanted to know, still feeling disadvantaged. A wood sprite nervously clicked some twigs. "Because at the time this forest was named, there were a lot of mice here, as there still are today. But even if one day there are fewer mice, this forest will still be called Mousewood Forest. You can't just rename a forest, can you? Just imagine if someone wanted to visit and couldn't find us because the forest had been renamed. Woot! And the squirrels had to agree. They had grandparents who rarely visited since they lived so far away. They didn't dare think how sad it would be if they were unable to visit because they couldn't find Mousewood Forest anymore. Furthermore, Conrad continued, it would not be wise to add squirrels to the forest's name, for then we would have to add the dwarves and all the other animals as well. A name is not supposed to be a census. Woot! Just imagine the confusion that would result. The squirrels preferred to think about nuts and acorns. They were far less confusing. You see, Conrad concluded, it is not about how many of a certain kind are present, or who was here first. This forest belongs to each and every animal living in and near it. Woot! Even if it is called Mousewood Forest, no one would ever believe only mice live here. It is a name, and the point of a name is to paint part of the whole picture, perhaps part of its history. Conrad then realized that most of the animals didn't understand, so he tried to give them an example. You see, someone called Honesty does not necessarily have to be honest. If she is dishonest, she would surely not change her name. Woot! She would remain Honesty, since that is the name that was given her. The little mouse called Humbert yelled in outrage, but if she were honest, she would return her name. If she were honest, said a surly wood dwarf to Humbert, she wouldn't have to, then she could keep her name. Conrad the owl closed both eyes, before he said slowly, but with empathy and a touch of impatience, you do not change a name. You rarely do. Usually you don't. That would have to suffice. He spread his wings, performed 2 quick hops on the stump, and then, with 2 or 3 silent flaps, soared skywards.
He said, we're not changing the name, shut up.
Some animals were satisfied with his explanation. Others debated whether Honesty could keep her name if she at least volunteered to return it after a single dishonesty, since that would be the honest thing to do. Others swiftly made their way home, unsettled by the huge owl circling overhead. The squirrels, Oswald and Edgar, were now looking for Edward. He had managed to hide in exactly the way someone afraid a small animal with a bushy red tail and beady black eyes would leap on his head and furiously tousle everything up there would. They walked slowly along the stream. The hubbub faded with each step they took away from the clearing and eventually died away. Wind rustled the treetops, and Oswald paused, pondering. So, the wood is not very much like its name, but it doesn't need to be, since names don't change. It just is. Even though the forest is constantly changing and growing, it just takes its name along with it. Edgar nodded eagerly. Both were glad that, since the forest could not just be renamed Squirrelwood, they and their well-hidden friend would have the next day off. Because somebody, at some point, when the forest was much smaller, had given it its name. And you don't change names. Well, rarely. Usually, you don't. Second story.
We'll save that for another day. Cute, though. Silly. Silly, but cute. One day I will, perhaps be a proper streamer where I remember to change my title every time, and to also have all my shit together when I start out. One day.
So, you finally returned to us, Kitsune. I hope you'll stay a little longer.
Sure, but who?
I've already seen this. Oh, you know what? It's probably because I clicked resume instead of load.
As if there are only more. But I can't.
Okay, so first I need to find the lead bell.
Over there, in the bush, I see.
In the bushes, there's something sparkling. Perhaps a bell.
I can see it. I want.
Right. Pretty much got up where we were then. This tree is a road for the foxes. Thank you. Big bell.
Ho ho! That is pretty loud.
Ah, that's a big fucking bell. You look different.
Cool. That is some army of fox statues. Scary.
Friendly. Friend or foe? The gatekeeper is sleeping above me. Oh. Okay. You mean like one of those? Or... Oh! Indeed!
Who disturbs my slumber? I cannot see you.
You don't have
but I
eyes.
sense your presence.
No, better not.
What? Why not?
Your path has led you to this point, but no further.
Well, why not?
I am the keeper of this gate. I am the guardian of this place. A blind fox could smell you from miles away. And so can I. How did you arrive in this place? That we foxes wrested away from the humans.
Did you rest it?
Human.
Or just wait until they left?
Since I did not allow you to enter through this gate, you must have gained access through the tree node.
Yes, the portal.
Kitsune. Her dealings with humans have rendered her almost as blind as I.
Is that a reason to not let me through?
This gate will remain closed to humans.
Well, what if I want it open? I'm a human, I deserve entrance. I'm a conqueror of conquest. Oh. What's a pepper?
That doesn't need any special spice.
Why not? That'll work. Get a bell. Ding ding.
Kitsune, is that you? The bright chime of your little bell cannot be mistaken. Your smell gives you away, human.
How could a statue smell?
You really thought you could deceive this old blind fox?
Oh, well,
A human? Deceiving a fox?
I mean, I could just throw you a fish that would distract you
This
enough.
is precious.
Actually, I'm trying to return this bell to the fox.
Ah, returning her lost property. What a noble gesture. You may pass,
No.
but be careful, human. Never trust a fox, especially not one like her.
So I shouldn't trust you in your warning then. What a fell sweller he is. Oh.
Ah, I find it surprising that you should be kind enough to bid me farewell. Thank you, my beloved.
It was bound to end sooner or later.
Yes, it is the end of warbling birds and green pastures. Instead, it is the beginning of murky waters and empty notebooks.
I have to
Depressing.
go.
I know.
Not a trace of the fox. Maybe that lady can tell me where it went.
Oh, maybe. Not even gonna talk to the man.
Hey, the fox is right here, but where did the lady go? Ha! At last! Gotcha! Whoa!
Oh boy! Stop following me around, Jerry!
You were following
You know what
me!
it means when someone is running away from you?
I am so sorry. Do you want me to leave?
No, please. I don't want to be alone.
Okay, you know my name?
So, you, know my name?
Oh, I've been watching you for a while.
Couldn't tell.
Over in the other world where we met.
Really?
I'm sorry. I should have introduced myself. I'm Kitsuna.
My name is Jeremiah Hazelnut, but my friends call me Jerry.
Jerry. Oh,
I think you lost something.
Ding ding.
oh, please keep it. I would like it if you took it with you, so you'll remember me.
Okay.
Oh, well, this is awkward. Two tweens that apparently like each other just because boy and girl.
What happened?
I wish I could tell you, but you would hate me. And there is already more than one human who hates me.
Ruin your teeth? Set a classmate's lunchbox on fire. That sounds very specific, Jerry.
Did you also set a classmate's lunchbox on fire? That happened to me. It would have been a great magic trick if it had worked. But let me tell you, they really hated me after that.
Well, how would you feel if someone had broken your heart? Wouldn't you hate them?
I don't know. My heart's never been broken yet.
If you stay with me long enough, I'll break it for you if you want me to.
Ooh,
I think I
threat
once
or a
saw
promise.
someone's heart being broken. Didn't look very amusing.
No, humans are so fragile. Not in the least like foxes. We try to make you happy, but it never works out.
This statue once said I should never trust a fox.
But he's a fox as well.
Yeah.
At least, that's what he was before. A few hundred years ago, he sold his 9 tails to a demon. So why should you trust him?
This is probably a silly question, but what are you? Fox or human?
I'm a fox, but I can change how you perceive me any way I want to.
Really? That's the coolest magic trick I've ever heard of.
You think so? It's not difficult. Just give it a try. Anyone can do it if they know how it's done.
Even me. I'm going to be a great magician, you know.
Oh,
So, you can teach me how to do it?
no. I promised on my parents' honor that I wouldn't teach it to anyone. The foxes here only use it to make people unhappy, but not me. I want them to be happy, but it never works out that way.
So, I'm a human, not a fox. That's probably actually true.
But I'm a human, not a fox.
I'm sorry, Jerry. I really can't do it. Unless, do you really want to make people happy? When you succeed in making a sad person happy, then I might believe you.
Jerry's got some good mousewood jokes. Tickled my grandfather's
I once
cat.
tickled my grandfather's cat. I had no idea that cats could giggle. Although, to tell you the truth, it sounded more like a sneeze.
No, laughter is not enough. Have you ever made someone so happy that it inspired them to do something truly outstanding?
No, not really.
Then come back when you have. I know you can do it.
Alright, I got some good jokes. What did one lesbian vampire say to the other one? See you next month! It's a good one. Alright, sad sack poet. Why are you so sad?
Quiet pond. No, that doesn't cut it. Gloomy pond.
Excuse me, are you a poet?
Am I a poet? A poet needs inspiration, and she no longer wishes to be mine. Instead, she just broke my heart. My name will fade into oblivion, just like my words and the ink on my paper.
Gross. Get over yourself. She's just a lady. If you depended on her that much, you should have treated her better.
Where did that, inspiring thing go to?
This wretched creature, she used me.
Did she?
True fox. I was a fool to believe that she and I were in any way alike. Foxes' hearts are broken and filled with pain. The pain transforms into cunning. And the cunning of a fox will break any man's heart.
You just fell in love with somebody you shouldn't have, and now you're mad at her that she didn't reciprocate. Which you shouldn't be, because, you know, she's an animal.
Are you looking for a new inspiration or something?
I need inspiration. But my spirit remains empty and unmoving. Just like this pond, nothing is stirring. And the same is true for my imagination.
Just means you have to try again tomorrow. Honestly, you're a whiny bitch. Grass isn't really green right now.
What about the rock over there? Isn't it, exciting?
Your words are just as empty as mine.
Don't tell me I didn't try. No, really. Why would the poet keep staring at the pond? I don't get it. There's nothing in there.
There could be. Yes.
Is that a frog I hear? A frog. Aha. No.
Yes.
My inspiration is dwindling again. Is that a frog I hear? A frog. Aha. No.
Yeah, the inspiration is dwindling again. Oh, whatever I will do, I'm so mournful over my lost love. There is truly no one worse off than I, a suffering artist. What the fuck ever.
Oh, wait a moment. Yes, I've got it.
Alright.
See the ancient pond. The green frog takes heart and leaps. Sound of the water.
Hey, nice haiku. I guess.
Oh, it's perfect. I show you, old fool, you've still got it.
Better then? All better? All good?
The leap of the frog.
No more whining.
The
Great.
parting water.
Yeah, he's good. Don't got any more whining about his
By giving it room.
bleeding
The
heart.
light overcoming the heavy. And thus my heart as well.
No, congrats. Good for you, lad. Good for you.
Bamboo! As far as the eye can see. Those would make great pogo sticks.
Would they? I don't know, Dare Bear. Okay, well, I mean, that was easy. And just slowly walk back over. Oh, goodness, Jerry. You just grew 3 times in size.
I saw what you did for the poet. His poems are truly beautiful, but they arise from his pain. In darkest night that's black and cold, that's where the stars shine brightest. Did you know that, Jerry?
No.
That is why I had to break his heart.
That's stupid.
It always happens that way. But you know what it takes to make others happy. And now I'm going to help you. Look closely, Jerry.
Just give him a wink. He's a lad.
I understand.
Don't wink at him.
But how can I do it?
Mumbo jumbo. Ipidum. Success! You can now learn a spell and you can use it. Open the inventory and click on the Fox's Cunning spell with the magic wand.
All right.
Come on, let's go back to Mousewood. Believe me, this world isn't for you. The other foxes here aren't as nice as me. Also, I want to find out whether someone tried to eat Uli's special treats, and whether Plato finally worked up the courage to speak to Anya.
Wow. How do you know all these things?
Snopes.
You'd be surprised about how much you notice when you change into a statue.
So it was you watching me. I knew there was something strange about those statues.
Did you?
Yeah.
You finally caught on. Good job, Jerry. Knew he'd get there eventually. Took a long time, but, you know, it worked. He is just a lad. Brain not fully developed yet. Usually over summer break you get dumber. Ooh, look at them. Okay, yeah. Oh.
What's the matter with her?
Why do you insist to do that with your hand?
Do you know where we are?
Who are you? Ah,
What did you see? Do you understand it yet?
no.
I wrote a story for you. It might help you understand. Do not be afraid, but be on your guard.
Ooh, number 6. Hopefully I'll remember that for next time.
You want me to read that story? What does all this mean?
That's what I'm trying to find out, Jerry.
The Marquis. Where are you?
Still in the magician's house. You
Lazy.
read the fox's spell? You did very well. Foxes are a bit of a tricky bunch, but they're also quite fascinating. Don't you think so?
Yes, but what do I do next?
There is a cold tree in the northwest. To find it, you must seek out the treetops.
I need wings.
Travelers who are able to walk between worlds are said to have settled there. The tree will lead you to the eternal ice, and that is where you will find your next spell.
Well, all right, but I would really like to go home for a bit. And soon. May I? Hello? Seems like he can't hear me.
How convenient for him. But look.
Oh, isn't that
Yeah. Ooh,
a blue root?
we're not taking
Looks
that.
pretty comfy to me.
Jerry's not feeling being a thief today. Do we ever listen to 6? Because the thing is, we don't have much of the game left, and I don't think I'm going to be able to keep excuses like, oh, we'll just listen to one each section. This one seems more important to the story.
6th story. Granny Mouse, George the Stag, and a mysterious place deep in the forest. It was early in the morning, and most of Mousewood's animals were still asleep. So if anyone had tried to gently wake them, telling them the sun was up and the birds were singing their morning songs, all they would probably have done was roll over, mumble, and sigh incomprehensibly, just like humans when they want to keep on dreaming. Some animals, though, were already awake, either because they enjoyed the silence when the forest itself still seemed asleep, or because they just couldn't sleep any longer. The latter applied to George the Stag. He'd struggled for days now to get a good night's rest. He always woke up early and couldn't get back to sleep afterwards. Sometimes he was so tired that he didn't even know if he was truly awake or still sleeping and dreaming. So George roamed the deep forest of Mousewood, where even animals who lived there could get lost on occasion. If someone had seen him, they wouldn't have got the impression he was tired at all, since stags have a natural tendency to look regal. If the mice and squirrels ever decided they needed a king, they would surely suggest a stag. A stag's antlers certainly look regal enough, but there was no need for a king. And even if there had been, George would probably just be a prince, since his antlers were still pretty short. The young stag, as drowsy as he was regal, continued his walk through the misty hills of Mousewood. He was in search of a clearing he had discovered a few days back and visited 3 mornings in a row. The strange thing was, the clearing wasn't easy to find. Every morning, it seemed to George, it was in a different place. The glade was as wide as a field. There was tall grass, and the murmur of a stream could be heard nearby, even though it wasn't visible through the reeds and dense bushes. Right in the middle of the glade, still wreathed in mist, stood a huge gnarled tree, with a thick trunk, grand roots that went for miles deep into the earth, and mighty branches towering high towards the sky. George found this tree different from other trees. He liked trees. In fact, George knew many of them, and this one was different. Probably because it grew in such isolation. This enormous tree didn't seem to have anybody for company. Maybe that was why he liked to be around it. George stood next to the tree and looked around the clearing. He wondered what the tree was thinking. "You're an early bird, aren't you?" a cawing voice asked. Startled and bewildered, George looked around, but he couldn't see anybody. Was it the tree talking to him? The answer flapped down to George from a branch up in the green treetop, landing just above his head on a stumpy branch. A coal-black raven, his feathers shimmering mysteriously more blue than black in the day's first sunlight. The bird fluffed up his feathers and made himself more comfortable. "You've been here a couple of times now, haven't you?" he cawed. George nodded. Sitting on his branch, tilting his head to the left, then to the right, the raven peered at him. His black eyes glinted despite the morning mist. "The likes of you rarely venture here," the raven said, gazing across the glade. "This place isn't easy to find. It's as if it were constantly on the move. Yesterday it seemed to be somewhere different, the same the day before," said George. "But I was probably just too tired to find it." "Quite the contrary. You found it because you were still dreaming a little," the raven said. "In their dreams, everybody knows how to find this place. Whoever sleeps will know the way." "What do you mean?" asked George. "Dreamers visit this place," replied the raven. "And sometimes they come here even though they're awake. Then two may sit here by the tree and look into each other's eyes. Sometimes a poet comes, or a badger with brush and easel to paint the tree. But they rarely recognize this place from their dreams, even though they've been here many times." George half understood what the raven was telling him, but was utterly confused by the other half. Pondering, he pawed the ground with his front hoof. "And who are you?" he asked. "The memory of everyone who leaves here is imprinted. A raven once came here. After he left, I remained as part of the tree's memory. It remembers many things, and its memory runs as deep as its roots, for it was the first tree. Without it, there would be no forest. Even when its time had passed, it remained intertwined with the forest. Now its roots not only grow to every part of the forest, but also reach into the realm of thoughts and dreams. It knows all the forest's secrets." "But why is it remembering you right now?" George asked, looking at the glade again. There was no one else there, just the raven. "Because I visited it once and sat beside it here in the foggy dew, just like you. So I crossed its mine. It's a wonderful morning, isn't it? Asked the raven, eyes glinting. George nodded. The raven soared skywards again and disappeared in the green canopy. What was left of the morning mist glowed faintly on the meadows under the gentle touch of the sun's light. High above, the wind began to sing in the branches, while the trunk softly creaked. George decided to return to the more populated parts of Mousewood. The stag had the urge to talk to someone less enigmatic than the black raven, so he ran through the tall grass back to the forest. After a while he turned back, but the glade had vanished. Where it had been just moments before, the trees now formed dense ranks, and George wondered if the tree would remember him as well. It was still early, but Mrs. Mouse the mouse was already busy. The old lady was preparing breakfast for her grandchildren, who were visiting her. She had already been to the baker's, luckily bakers are early birds as well, and bought some rolls. So the breakfast table was already set when her grandchildren, Lars and Jess, came tumbling down the stairs surprisingly early. They scurried over to the table, still in their pyjamas. Mrs. Mouse would have loved to pinch their cheeks because they looked so adorable. Then she remembered how she had hated having her cheeks pinched when she was a child, so she spared her grandchildren. Instead, she put a big glass of milk for them each on the table and tousled their hair.
Not the hair
Well,
tousling.
you two, she said, you're up early. Lars raised his glass with both hands and took a long swig of cold, fresh milk. His big brown eyes looked out from behind the glass. After a swig that size, he needed a while and took a deep breath before he could answer. Yes, Lars said excitedly, because we're going to sell lemonade outside. Lemonade? Asked his granny. Do you know how to make lemonade? I can make lemonade, Lars replied, even more excited now. Drinking lemonade is what you're good at, said Jess, who was a bit older than Lars, as he buttered his roll and daubed it with jam. But you don't know how to make it. I do, with lemons, said Lars.
He's not wrong.
After breakfast,
You do need
Granny
lemons.
Mouse made a jug of her tasty lemonade and gave it to Lars and Jess to sell in glasses to passers-by. They'd been inspired by their good friend Humbert. Even though he was a bit of a know-all, they still had a good time with him. Lars carried a small empty box from Granny's garden to the forest track, while Jess followed with a bigger one. Side by side on chairs, the boxes made an excellent booth for selling lemonade. All that was missing was a sign telling potential customers what was for sale and how much it cost. How much is a glass of lemonade anyway? Lars asked. It's not so much what we charge, but how much a thirsty customer is willing to pay, Jess replied like a true salesman, pacing up and down. You mean they just give us as much as they like? Lars asked, scratching his left ear. That wasn't what Jess meant, but he liked the idea anyway. If we're that generous and let people just pay as much as they want, they may give us lots of money, he said, telling Lars what to write on the sign. Lars was good at writing, even though he hadn't started school yet. Tasty lemonade. Price, customer's choice, is what the mice wrote on the sign, and then they waited for their first customer.
Sure, people didn't swindle them.
From time to time, someone passed their booth with a friendly greeting, but no one wanted a glass of lemonade. Then Oswald the squirrel came along and was intrigued by the sign. Just think about what you'd be willing to pay for a glass, Jess suggested. Oswald thought about it. After a while, he asked, So I determine the cost? Yep, said Jess, already worried this would be too challenging and their first customer wouldn't enjoy thinking about the price of lemonade. Oswald ran off and climbed a tree some distance away. He briefly disappeared from sight, then reappeared on one of the trees nearby. He had a big, shiny acorn with him. This one's perfect, Oswald said, polishing the acorn with the back of his paw so it shone even more. The young mice accepted Oswald's payment
The
and
shiniest of
poured him a
nuts.
glass of lemonade. He drank slowly, sip by sip. "Tasty," he said, returned the glass and took his leave. Lars and Jess put the shiny acorn on the counter and waited for more customers. Suddenly there was a suspicious rustling in the bushes, but the mice were concentrating on the path in front of them. "Psst," the bush behind them said. "Did you say something?" Jess asked, but Lars shook his head. "Psst, psst," the bush said, now louder. The brothers turned around, and a stag poked his head out of the shrubbery and grinned at them. "George," Lars said happily. "Hey, you two, what are you up to?" George asked. "We're trying to sell marmalade," Lars answered. "Lemonade, not marmalade," Jess corrected his younger brother. "Lemonade," Lars amended. "Look, we got a nice shiny acorn for one glass." George took a closer look at the acorn. It was so shiny he could see his own reflection in it. "But it's really not as valuable as a glass of tasty lemonade," Lars said. A little later on, Soft Steel the wood dwarf came by the booth, making no effort to wish the kids a good day. He was about to
Shitty
walk
old
by
dwarf.
without a word. "Excuse me," George called after him. "What is it?" the wood dwarf asked, turning round. "Do you like lemonade?" the stag inquired. "I certainly do," replied the dwarf, sceptically peering at the mice and the stag. "And now I suppose you want me to pay." "But you choose how much," Jess clarified. "Pah! On top of all that, I have to choose," the dwarf groaned, pulling a face and pretending to be bored. "Maybe you'd like to carve something?" George asked. He knew that dwarves were fine craftsmen who probably put all their sensitivity into their craft and hadn't much left over for other occasions. "You want something carved?" the dwarf asked the mice. Lars handed Soft Steel the shiny acorn, and the dwarf eyed the material. Then he pulled the knife from his belt pouch and asked, "And what should I carve for you?" Lars looked around. His eye fell on George, standing next to him, looking very regal. Lars whispered something to Jess that his brother seemed to think was a good idea. "Carve us a George," Jess said. "All right. Well, get yourself into a proper pose," the dwarf demanded. So George took up an even more regal pose, and Soft Steel began to carve. From time to time he looked up at George and then continued carving. Eventually he blew the shavings from the acorn's surface, took a critical look at his work, and then showed it to the mice. The dwarf had captured a good likeness of George on the shiny acorn. A fine work. Jess took the acorn and thanked the dwarf respectfully. "My lemonade," Soft Steel said, pointing at the empty glass on the counter. He made no effort to make this sound like a request. The children poured him some lemonade. The dwarf gulped the glass down in one go and left. When he was sure that he was out of sight and earshot, however, Soft Steel smacked his lips loudly, since the lemonade had been truly delicious. "Now we have a really valuable acorn," Lars cheered. Mrs. Mouse came out of her house to look for her grandchildren and was happy to see George with them. The kids showed her their new carving, and she immediately recognized George's image. Since he had had such a good idea, the stag was given the rest of the lemonade. Jess took the jug and poured it directly into his mouth, as stags rarely have their hands free.
He has hands?
"Another satisfied customer," George commented, licking his lips. "And as a customer, I choose what I pay. So, why don't we go lantern rambling tonight? What do you think, Mrs. Mouse?" "Oh, I haven't done that for a long time," the old lady said, wondering if this wasn't a touch too adventurous. Then she said, "As long as we take it slowly, my legs aren't what they used to be." "Yay!" Jess shouted. "Hooray!" said Lars. George promised to pick the mice up at twilight. Lantern rambling is an old tradition in Mousewood. When the days get shorter, the forest dwellers light colourful paper lanterns with their...
Sorry, I just want to highlight again. A stag has hands. Like, I know most, these critters are like anthropomorphized, but Conrad is still like pretty big in comparison, right? And he still pretty much looks like an owl. So like, is George still like the size of a buck, like a typical white-tailed deer? He would be massive, and yet he still has hands. Like, so far, all the critters that have hands, like, kind of already have hands, like paws, or such. Like, Conrad doesn't really have hands, he has wings. So, like, does he have, like, hoof fingers, or... Because, I mean, it was probably just sarcasm, but, like, what if it wasn't? What a freak!
Their children and go for an evening walk. After sunset, Lars and Jess put on warm coats and waited outside. Mrs. Mouse joined them and gave her grandchildren sticks to hang their lanterns on. The little ones could hardly wait for George to take them and their granny for a walk through the forest. Mrs. Mouse picked up the lanterns and unfolded them. Then she put candles inside and lit them. Lars got his first. It was shaped like the sun, with a jolly, illuminated face. The flickering candle flame made the sun smile curiously vivid. Then Granny Mouse hung Jess's lantern on its stick, a radiant crescent moon gazing dreamily into the night. The children held their lanterns carefully so the candles would burn brightly and steadily. "Okay, take good care of your lanterns," Mrs. Mouse said. "You can wait outside for George, but stay near the house." "Yes, Granny," Jess said. Mrs. Mouse returned to the kitchen to prepare dinner, since everybody was sure to be hungry after their walk. Outside, Lars and Jess waited with their lanterns for their friend. "George is certainly taking his time," said Lars, cautiously dangling his lantern. "Yeah, I hope he's all right," Jess replied. "Do you know where he lives?" Lars asked with a worried look. "Somewhere over there, I think," his brother said, pointing down the forest path which disappeared into the dusk.
They're gonna get in trouble.
"We could go and meet him halfway." "But Granny said we should wait here," said Lars. "We'll go and meet him and come back to pick up Granny," Jess said. His little brother found that quite reasonable. So the two mice walked slowly down the track with their lanterns till all one could see was a jolly sun and a dreamy moon
Granny gonna whack him
dancing
with the
faintly
spoon.
in the trees. Shortly after, George the stag arrived at Mrs. Mouse's house and knocked at the door. The grandmother greeted him warmly. "Good evening. Are you all ready?" she asked him, and took her warm coat from the hook by the door. "I'm ready," George replied. "Where are Lars and Jess?" asked Mrs. Mouse, buttoning her coat. She felt a little uneasy. "Why, they're not outside, if that's what you mean," George said, now sharing her unease. Mrs. Mouse ran outside and looked around. There was no sign of her grandchildren. "Where are they? They were out here a minute ago," she said, her voice shaking. The old lady desperately looked about for the children. George's stomach ached at the thought that Lars and Jess were out there in the dark on their own. "Come on, we've got to find them," George said, and knelt down to let Mrs. Mouse climb on his back. Granny Mouse wrapped her scarf around her neck and didn't hesitate for a second before climbing on the stag's back. "Hold on tight," George said.
Mrs. Brisby
Then he got up
vibes.
and moved off into the darkness in search of the children. "Lars!"
Elder
George
Brisby.
shouted through the nocturnal forest. "Jess!" Mrs. Mouse shouted. But there was no answer to be heard, nor lantern to be seen. "Where are you?" their grandmother called as loud as she could. They came across some other animals, like Conrad the owl and a couple of polecats, but none of them had seen the kids. And so the stag ran through the woods with the grandmother mouse on his back, shouting their names in the dark. Fallen leaves whirled into the air behind them as the stag dashed through the dusky trees. Soon they'd covered a great deal of the neighborhood, so the stag went into the deeper, less populated parts of the forest. But still there was no trace of the two mice. Should we search somewhere else? George asked, worried, scanning the shadows. I don't know, Mrs. Mouse said in a low voice. Then something occurred to her. Wait, I've just remembered where I used to sit with my husband, she said hopefully. Where's that? The stag asked. Mrs. Mouse tried to remember, and the stag wondered how the old lady planned to find the way in the dark. Just go straight on, she said, as if she could see the place in front of her. So George went straight on. Suddenly they emerged from the trees in a glade, the same glade where George had talked to the raven that morning. The huge tree towered on the other side of the clearing, bathed in pale moonlight. George ran over to the tree. This is where I used to sit with my husband, right under that tree when we were young. It's so long since I've been here. George, can you see the little ones? Asked Mrs. Mouse with hope in her voice. My eyesight isn't what it used to be. Is there someone there? George peered over at the tree, and down at the bottom of the trunk there was indeed somebody. He struggled to see who it was. Then he made out two figures, but not Jess and Lass. George didn't know if he could trust his eyes. Down in the shadows sat a young girl mouse and her boyfriend. They were holding hands and smiled shyly at him. The young mouse reminded him of the grandmother on his back. Next to the couple stood a stag, but George could only see his silhouette in the shadows cast by the silvery moonlight. Curiously, it felt like looking into a mirror. The tree remembers us, he thought, reminded of the raven's words. It's not the kids, he said quietly to the grandmother. Then let's ask these nice people if they've seen my grandchildren, said Mrs. Mouse, wondering why George was so quiet. Have you seen two children? George asked aloud. The mice pointed to the right into the forest. The other stag paced around in the tree's shade,
Now that's a time
calling to
paradox.
someone up in the treetop. George couldn't hear what he said as he was too far away. A big bird descended from the high branches, flapping towards George and Mrs. Mouse. In the moonlight, George recognized the raven he had met that morning. Follow me, will you? Called the raven, soaring over their heads in the direction the mice had pointed. Mrs. Mouse held on tight, and George trotted across the meadow to the glade's edge. The black raven flew between the trees, his silhouette merging with the forest's darkness. George followed him. When they were back in the woods, the raven disappeared. Instead, they saw a smiling sun and a sleepy moon floating between the trees, as if waiting for something. Children! Mrs. Mouse called from the stag's back. Granny! The children shouted, running towards them, but carefully so their lanterns wouldn't go out. You were supposed to stay at the house, their grandmother said, with a mixture of anger and relief. The kids looked sheepish and apologized. Where were you, anyway? George asked, slightly out of breath due to all the running and yelling. We were looking for you, Lass explained. But it seems you were somewhere completely different. George and Mrs. Mouse and the kids made their way through the dark forest. After a while, they found the track leading to Granny Mouse's home. They didn't talk much on the way, as it had been an exhausting evening for all of them. Around them, the woods were so silent that all that could be heard was the soft rustling of leaves beneath their feet. Just before they reached the house, Lars' lantern went out with a faint fizzle. The jolly sun went dark. Shortly afterwards, Jess's sleepy moon also expired. George was relieved that the candles had lasted so long. Without their light, they wouldn't have been able to find the children so easily in the dark. When they reached the mice's house, George bade them farewell. The house was far too small for a stag, and he was also very tired. After saying goodbye, the mice had dinner and went to bed. When Lars and Jess had brushed their teeth and crawled under their warm blankets, Granny Mouse assured them that she wasn't angry any more. She was just happy to have them back, safe and sound. The children had to promise their grandmother not to run away again. Then she tucked them in and put the lights out. And shortly after, both little mice fell asleep. Their granny waited for a while, listening to Jess mumble in his sleep. He already seemed to be dreaming. The old lady went downstairs, and later, sitting in her armchair, she looked around her. On a cupboard stood pictures of her children and grandchildren. One showed a girl mouse and her husband. Next to them lay the shiny acorn carved with George's image. George was probably at home now, Mrs. Mouse thought, also probably recovering from a tiring evening. She greatly appreciated the stag's help in finding the little ones. And, after a while, Mrs. Mouse fell asleep in her armchair. In every forest there is a tree. The first tree in the whole forest. So old it knows almost everything, with roots deep in every corner of the forest, even in the realm of our thoughts and dreams. Seventh story.
Hello, Fed. I'm afraid you just missed our story time. And while I didn't exactly have to deal with Jerry's current situation, it alluded to it. How goes it, Fed? What do we have? Neat indeed. Symbolism. I love it. How could we make wings out of that? But first... Oh no, I still have to find a way to make the web sticky.
A mug full of
Sticky syrup. No, you still won't do anything with it. We do have the bell, though. Good? Just relaxing? Good. Monday nights should be as stress-free as possible. Actually, most days should be, but... And what more can you do? Actually, what happens if we would actually speak to the lad? Do you think he'll actually do anything? Mr. Rabbit? You gonna give a shit today? Interrupt Plato's date as he's just sat there trying to woo Anya.
Jenny, you're out and about late. Well, where to?
Always out and about late.
My bicycle has taken me far. Let's go. Hang on tight, Jenny.
So farther it goes,
See you later.
Plato. And closer?
In the hall of the... But this, my found banishment, those who are able to... If someone...
wow.
Don't know yet. When do I get to go home, sir? It looks so
Back
long.
already?
Is it really okay for me to be away from home for so long?
On a day
Never.
in summer vacation, anything is possible. I promise you that you'll be back in time for dinner. Are you ready to trust me, Jeremiah Hazel?
Mate, it's been like a month.
I'll get back to work.
You have... but there isn't much, so hurry.
It's far too late to imagine being back in time for dinner. It's been a month! Mrs. Hazelnut has been looking for her son for weeks. The police have already said he's dead. Given up. Or called him a runaway. How do we do this? Oh, can't. Jerry can't use it. A crying shame. Right, what am I... Well, actually, I could just go this way. creep her out today. Last day of summer dinner. Went a long way. I was like, oh, I can make it short. Really wasn't that short in comparison.
I'd better ask before I burst in there. Looks like that moth over there is guarding the entrance.
I mean, you could just go.
Miss Moth?
No wingless beings in here.
Oh well.
Your vibes are disturbing this place.
Get better vibes,
I'm
Jerry.
not sure what that means, but I believe this is a private area for insects. Too bad I don't have any wings.
Annoying.
I'd better be careful with...
Oh wait, maybe. You know, maybe instead. Hang on. Got an idea. I've got me an idea. Might know what to do. Have a sit, Jerry. Might need the syrup poured first.
I'd better be careful
Come on, Jerry. Stick it down the sink.
Good riddance.
What?
Now my mug is empty. Seems like the wood dwarf enjoyed it. Or perhaps it had a vision. My mum always cleaned... I mean, when our wife comes home, not the wood dwarf.
Yes.
Cute.
Don't really remember how to get wings. But that's supposed to go there for whatever reason.
Neither the spider web nor the branch are sticky enough to fasten it there.
And the syrup is supposed to be sticky, but apparently that's not the glue that I am looking for. For whatever reason. Are you sure?
A mug full of thick...
Guess it just says thick, sweet syrup. It's not really sticky until Jerry's like, ew, it sticks to my hands. Gross. No, we won't do it like that.
I'd better be careful with the syrup. It's
Already sticking to my fingers. You see what I mean? It just won't.
neither the spider... Now, if I sit on this and then cut the rope... Bad idea.
Do it. Do something with it, Jerry. This is honestly looking pointless.
Take a jug for some good luck. No, I'll keep...
Why? For what reason, Jerry?
The rose hips...
I'll actually have a wander down this way. You so bored?
I'm sorry?
If only I weren't so bored.
Bored. You could go see Zara.
Bored!
Agreed. Nobody wants to see Zara. Anya, how was your date with Plato? After I cut it short and ruined it because I needed his transport. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy him bailing on you because he still owes me a favor?
Welcome back.
Permanently owes me favors? No, nothing.
See you later.
Okay. Delightful. Such a conversationalist, Anya. Thank you. Delightful. What you doing, mate?
I don't think I need an illusion here.
Freak. You're a freak! Need an illusion?
I don't think I need one.
Why not? Thing's still there.
That looks like... I don't know what that looks like, but it seems to be stuck in the middle of the tree. That can't be a good thing.
The gnarled old nail, Jerry. Right then, what am I... Oh wait, an illusion. I don't have to make wings, I just have to pretend I've got wings. Got it. There. Understand. Actually, let's just call Plato, because that's gonna be quicker. I got it. I was literally just like, maybe if I take these cobwebs in this branch, I'll be able to, like, hook some of those dandelion seeds and make, like, some weird feathery wings, and that would count? I don't know. The cold tree!
Let's go. Hang on tight, Jerry.
Go, Plato!
See you later.
Goodbye, Plato! Now nighttime. Very riveting story about mice and men. Sorry. Held a great thirst there. Great thirst only water could quench. It's the quenchiest.
I feel this funny prickle.
On the backpack.
Greetings of the light.
Nice.
Yeah, same to you.
I say, you have a glorious pair of wings.
They're super practical.
Please forgive me for overlooking them earlier.
Nah, they're small, I
Here
know.
we were, assuming that in this strange land that we call home now, no sentient winged beings existed beside ourselves.
I mean, there's birds. They're sentient.
I can feel the wings, but I think I'm just imagining them. Although the moth can see them too. So this is what it feels like to be Kitsuna. I wonder what her true shape is then, and what is she doing right now? Will I see her again soon?
You are carrying on a dialogue with yourself, native. Priestess Phosphora.
Very normal, I
awaits
promise.
You in the temple. She will derive great pleasure from greeting a native moth.
Okay, I'll just walk on through then, alright?
Just follow the path that is laid out for you, as do we.
You're high, aren't you? Alright. You enjoy your ride there. Chasing the dragon, what have you.
It's really cold here. Oh, that must be Priestess Phosphora.
What's up?
What noise does a moth make anyway?
Flutter, flutter?
Beautiful night tonight, isn't it?
My eye facets. Do they deceive me? Is it a moth that goes there?
Sort of.
Yes. What else could it be?
Hespera let you in, but she is not in distress. The air tells me so. You must be a moth of goodwill.
Yes, I am.
Totally.
Phew. For a moment there, I was afraid the spell would only work on one moth at a time.
Whence do you come? You are not part of our circle. Moreover, your mask. You are not wearing it.
Nope, not yet. I'm from very far away.
We bid you welcome, but know that it is only hardship that still keeps us in this cold place.
Alright. But why? Is it because you're just frozen here?
Are you two the only ones living here?
We used to be many. We feasted on nectar, the light of the moon, our legends, and the beauty of sense.
Yeah?
But the
How'd
great
that go?
flood overcame the world we inhabited, and the cold over another.
So you fled to Mousewood?
This place is bountiful with the vibes of ancient light of life.
You're just hippies, aren't you?
We erected a temple to achieve the strength we needed.
Straight
but
up
the grey
hippies.
mountain on the horizon spells doom for this world.
grey flood?
The giants rolling up are the first sign. Apparently peaceful, but then a mass starts to pour from their moors. Nobody
Pollution.
gets away, be it plant or animal, because the mass hardens, thus
Civilization.
never releasing whatever lies buried underneath.
Sounds like cement to me. Could that be what she's talking about? Where did the rest of you go?
Drawn by the grey mountain, by stench and disease, the crows came. In time, there were too many of them, and the corruption within the things they ate.
Do hear a lot of crows up
oozed
here.
into their feathers, made them forget all about themselves. Our wings resemble the bark of the trees, but they are not nearly so hard.
Oh, eaten. Eaten alive. Happens.
And why are you wearing those masks?
Like the moon, we cover our features, for only by looking inward can the ghost undergo a new creation. It symbolizes our retreat from the world and our focus on the inner.
Horse blinders, but moth blinders. Got it.
Let's talk about something else.
Something less depressing?
Do you have a portal I could use?
The cold by that tree is indeed bursting forth from another world. These days, however, only the warm light from our high priestess, who rests in my arms, would be able to open this frozen connection. But her light is weak. She knows that we need to be on our way soon, but without nourishment there is little hope that she would ever survive such a journey.
What do you need?
Flower seed.
Flower seed? It can't be all that hard.
Why isn't the child sealed in the tree yet? He is not yet ripe. We are coming for when the child is ripe. How goes it, Hat?
What are you guarding so closely?
It is the last ray of light. We are the last of the nuns of the Moonlight Circle, and we are expecting the arrival of our High Priestess, who is conceived under a favorable star, begotten by the most light-filled moths within our circle. We are going to call her Moonlight.
Moonlight. What a beautiful name.
Hippie! It's going. It be that way sometimes. Yes, when the child is properly steeped in depression, he will be ripe and ready for the tree god. Anyway.
It was nice talking to you, but now I need to buzz off. Do other insect stuff.
Return
Smooth,
here
Jerry.
whenever you are able to, but try to not tarry for too long. Lights are coming from everywhere, blinding us and drawing us away from here.
Oh, yep. She's having a swell time. I can hear it. You have lost something. But somebody else is already looking for it. Dignity?
Oh man, it's freezing up here. It's even snowing a bit. That's probably the reason why Plato's bike froze in the puddle down there. The cold seems to emanate directly from the tree.
Oh yeah, that's what she said. Did you not listen, Jerry? That's what she literally just shed. Although, she is a hippie. She could be very facetious about it.
Is that one of you?
It is an image of our High Priestess, Moonlight.
She looks very pretty, just like Moonlight.
She has always been like that. And she will be once again, as soon as she hatches.
How can you know that if she's still in her egg?
She comes and goes, just like the moonlight. We know her well, and her time will come again. Soon.
Yes. Definitely not a cult.
This pot contains some dirt, but no plant. Only a funny stone that someone... Oh, my mistake. This used to be a plant.
Oh. I've got these. Want this?
Rose hips are cool,
Nah.
but
Still carrying around those useless rose hips that probably won't do anything. Oh, that's kind of rude, Cherry. I mean, oh, Flap, flap. Buzz, buzz,
A
flap,
bundle
flap.
of flax. A duster, perhaps. I think I'll borrow it.
Sure. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but sure. Okay, well. Anything this way? No? Can't go any farther that way.
Oh man, it's free. It's even. That's the code.
Oh, damn it. Need some kind of plant, eh? Want a stick? Got a stick.
A stick won't help here.
It's technically a plant. A stick is a plant. Might technically be dead, but it is still a plant. I'm not wrong. Well, guess we'll go back. Eat some marigold, maybe?
What a pretty flower. I think I've seen it on the label of one of Mum's relaxation teas.
Who in the fuck is going to have some sort of plant? I don't know. Oh hey, you're back. Oh, and they're gone.
We all wish the young tree walker lots of luck, but now, on with the program.
No. Well, to be fair, he is working. He wouldn't likely have much to say to me.
It almost looks like a fat brush.
Ah, brush, he says. Okay. Don't really know what more you want me to do with that. As of right now. Oh, he's even got a beaded curtain. Damn. It pretty much is just like that frog's pad from Thumbelina. Like that, Don Bluth Thumbelina movie. You know what I mean. I'm sure you've seen it. Who has... Well, actually, can we go there in the daylight now? That'll make a difference. Uppies! No. For some reason, it's still locked up.
Closed. They seem to be
Weird. Actually, maybe I do need to go uppies. Make it night. Go in there and make it day. Let's try. Let's try. Wait a minute. Let's try. Fed needs uppies. Bring fed uppies. Cause he's fed uppies. Oh, that's a good one. Oh. Alright, no. No, no, Jerry. No, I thought you were gonna do it over there and something would happen. Right, okay. Pointless. At least I know. I know for certain now. So you know that spooky thing's gone now.
The fields are haunted at night. It's really nice to see.
No more ghost.
I think it's much too creepy.
I doubt anywhere here could, though. It's sad. I mean, I'm 7'3". I could probably bring you uppies. You fucking weirdo. There's lots of plants and such here. Anya? Can I have a plant? You have flower seeds for me?
Just a sec.
Anya? Ding ding, Anya. Ding ding.
Welcome back.
Hi. Nothing.
About the preparations for the treetop festival.
Everything will be ready. The dwarves are brewing the treetop.
Okay. Ding ding.
I better not dig it again. Anya always sounds so sad when she talks about old Uli.
Well, it might be something new to talk about. Flowers? No. Hush! Nobody talk to you, nerd!
You perhaps.
You weird mask-faced freak! Jonathan, flowers?
Wilderness, do you know?
Yes, I know, I mean, I can't remember the words! Oh, very funny. Very funny joke. He's very good. Yeah. Tap tap. Do you two eclectic weirdos have plant for me? Plant? Be a flower.
About the map.
This map shows the 4 portal trees in this region.
Yeah.
On a clear night, you can come out there on the dusty field roads. But as an apprentice, your teacher and
You two don't really help, but I guess thanks for the sentiment. Milk. Milk. They're not for the milk. Oh, wait. Come on.
I'm so tired again.
Just take a nap during the day. Sleepy. Eepy. That's not very helpful. So tired again. You know, I was like so tired this morning. I was in such a dead sleep that, you know, sometimes you wake up and you're like not sure where you're at. Not only was I not sure where I was at, I thought I was in like a house that I had lived in like 2 houses before, like years and years ago. And I couldn't even hardly open my eyes. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. How much time has passed? Where am I? It took maybe like 10 minutes before I could actually see like where I was. Gather my thoughts and be like, oh, not only am I not where I thought I was, I didn't even have a reason to wake up at this time. It's my day off. Pointless. Maybe I need that flowers out there. Huh. Out there by the Hare's garden.
Closed. Too bad.
Oh, right. Gotta go up and over. Flower.
I love the way this flower reflects the moonlight.
Seeds? Jerry? No. Why not? What in the hell am I supposed to do with this? Huh?
Now I've got a sticky brush.
Why? Why the hell do I need this?
That doesn't need sticky.
Okay. Sticky. Sticky. It is for web, but it won't go on the web. Maybe... Is this what I need to be able to put it onto the stupid branch?
Well, where to?
I had to get a bundle of flax
Hang on tight, Jerry.
to paint it onto
See you later.
the branch first, and then put the web on it. Is this what you wanted from me, game?
Oh man, that's a lot. I should
Do this during the day, because I'm scared. What if I fall? I can't fall in the daylight. Don't you know? Daylight helps you defy gravity. That's what sunlight is for. That's what vitamin D means. Defy gravity. Fuck off, Gabe.
Right, the branch is sticky now.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. It's not like I already solved the puzzle and didn't need the stupid flax to do it. Back off.
Great. My spider sense is tingling.
Is it, Jerry? Is it?
Careful. That shoelace is extremely taut. Now I just have to adjust the branch, and then some of those little paratroopers will hopefully land in my net.
Yeah, that'll surely help it. Oh, but you see, you can float in the daytime because everything is light.
Now I just have to adjust the branch, and then some...
Do we need to adjust it? Can't you just fling it? Sure, whatever.
Whoa!
Nope. Yep.
The shoelace broke.
I mean, it took a long time. It took a long time before that would happen, so...
No, I've already lost my nifty grappling hook. Enough of this for today.
Okay. Fat's so proud of himself.
Some dandelion seeds got stuck in the net, but I can't reach it like this, and the shoelace broke. A stick won't help here.
It will! It's got reach, Jer Bear! Fuck's sakes.
Nothing. Some dandelion seeds got stuck in the net, but I can't reach it like this, and the shoelace broke.
Reach it with the nail.
No.
Nope.
So much for my handy grappling hook.
Honestly, Jerry, you are just the most helpful young man I've ever met. Truly, truly. Bundle of flax? That'll help,
That's
surely.
a really good idea, but I can't reach it.
Flax, bundle of flax, that'll help.
That's really, but I can't.
Shut up, Jerry. Just shut the fuck up, Jerry. Maybe Steinberger help. Steinberger. Help? Paint you. Bored. Map? No, he's just bored. Wanna sneeze? Bored! You wanna fly this little piece of paper? Bored! He's so upsetty. I guess technically we play quartet, so that might be less boring for him, but... How would I do that?
On the door it also... And...
Use the stick.
The dwarf already, so I'd bet...
Use the nail. Come on, Jerry, I know you want to. You're already a vandal. A petty thief. May as well keep it going. There, one sticker. Just put the sticker on it. Decorate it a little bit. You can't even grab that, actually.
No, I've already lost
my grappling hook. Sad.
But I wouldn't.
Single fucking dandelion, and I ain't got nothing to do with it. If I had a rock, I could just throw a rock at it. It would fall down. I get it. Grab the grappling hook.
For my handy grab.
Just jump and grab, Jerry. You can do it. I believe in you. Because every man with the name Jerry got to be lame about shite. Use the bell. The bell will work.
I'd better take good...
Just use the bell. I know you think she's your girlfriend, but you two literally know nothing about each other. She just thinks you're funny. Possibly because she's broken. I'm just saying, she didn't have particularly normal responses to human feelings. She's probably a little bit broken.
Some dandelion seeds, but I can't reach it like this.
And the shoelaces broke. That means they're practically married. They'll only be truly married when Jerry starts to hate her. Did you guys see that, like, really weird Twitter thread about, like... I mean, there's a lot of, like, weird incel shit online, right? But there was this one that I saw where it was talking about, like, how straight men get so sick of their, like, their girlfriends or their wives, they just, like, start doing everything wrong to get them, the girlfriend, to break up with them. They're like, oh, when she starts getting ugly, you have to, like, say that she still looks pretty. Or it's like, oh, when she goes to hug you when you get home and it just ruins your whole mood. Ew. It's like, oh, she calls to check up on you while you're hanging out with your boys and it just ruins your whole night. Ew. Gaslighting is the Sigma grindset, I guess. It's really fucked up. Like, honestly, if you're really that miserable being with someone, you should just break up. Like, it's okay to stop a relationship. Like, some relationships don't make it. That's fine. You alright, lad? Like, are you alright having that screaming up near your noggin all the damn time? I don't think he's alright. Gotta be honest. Actually... do you have, like, some kind of... lace?
We all wish the young tree walk, but now...
Nope.
Adriana has a big antenna. I'd love to play that hit for you. Too bad my record's all scratched up.
Thought you were talking about playing with Adriana's big antenna. Oh my. Who has a piece of string for me? Ah, if only I could find Jeremy the Crow. He has lots of string. Not you, Jerry. Jeremy the Crow. String would be something that the church mouse would have, but I don't think the church mouse has anything that's technically of use. That's pretty much his whole joke. He doesn't actually have anything worthwhile.
Hello, Mr. Chuck.
Oh, it's the boy with a... What church?
Nope.
I'm afraid...
Things and stuff and what's its... Yeah, there is something weird about human culture where for some reason it's better to still stay in a relationship and be miserable than just break up and be happy and single.
And these tools shiny new. Help prevent the hedgehog flu.
I mean, the other thing is that it's not like anyone really stays young and hot looking as they age. That's kind of the whole point of aging. You don't really look the same. It's alright. It's alright if you don't. As long as you still like each other and like being around each other, you'll find ways to enjoy it. I'm really trying to think, but I don't... The dandelion is probably the only plant that will actually grow up there. Got a spare shoelace, lad.
I know you're out for next. I'll take
Shoelace, no. You're just gonna be sad about your mole friend that is definitely dead. Mole? Gopher? I don't know. Oh, wait, no. Ow. No, go back in, it's quicker. Take the tunnel.
No, I'll keep it.
Keep it then. Throw the mug!
I'm sure my
Mug would definitely work in this situation. Need some pepper? A little spice on that?
that doesn't need.
This flying letter.
I'd better.
The useless rose hips.
Rose hips.
Plato! I summon thee! Nope. Alright. Imagine you just see Plato go, wahey! Right off the cliff.
Some dandelion seeds, but I can't reach it. Some dandelion, but I can't. So much for my hand. I don't think. Nothing.
Nope. Don't know. Oh?
Fits.
Does it? A long brush with syrup, okay. Yep, sure, that works.
I got myself a dandelion parachute.
Jerry, that thing's no bigger than your itty bitty foot.
A giant dandelion parachute.
No bigger than your foot! What are you on about? Go!
I don't want to plant a dandelion there.
No, you could just float down. It'd be fun. Don't you remember what fun's like, Jer Bear? Probably not. It's been such a long time since you properly had fun. Giant dandelion. So big, guys. It's as big as an actual lion. Yeah. Sure it is. Alright, put her in the pot. If anything's gonna survive up here, it's gonna be a dandelion.
Thing and in with the new seed.
And it's dandy. Oh.
Nothing's happening. Isn't this a special flower pot?
It is purer than most, but not a magic pot.
Yeah,
But
magic.
is the seed still going to sprout in time?
Your intent to help us has already brought warmth to this place, but not enough to awaken the seed from its slumber in good time.
If I were a dandelion seed, I wouldn't want to take root here either.
It's a weed. It'll grow. Sure looks like something, don't it?
What? What's that over there?
That is the Grey Mountain, where the crows live and forage for nourishment.
It looks like a waste dump.
Wingless beings carried it here, and after the mountain came the crows and the flood.
Man's pollution.
You mean humans dumped it all? I can smell it all the way over here.
The heavy fumes saturate the crows. Their beaks and deep into the mountain. Their words grow louder and empty.
You mean the crows are attacking Mousewood? Because this mountain of garbage is driving them crazy. Do you think the crows would leave if the garbage dump were no longer there? And the flood?
All the inhabitants of this wood together cannot move the mountain. I have been wondering for a long time who would be able to move entirely. Is there someone like that? Yes, is there someone like that who can see? I rather hope not.
Why's that?
Because I cannot imagine a greater threat than someone who knows about all of this, and yet does nothing.
Oof. You did this, Jerry, you bastard! I bought this violin to make you feel guilty, Jerry! Do you feel the despair, Jerry? Are you ready for the tree, Jerry? Your pollution, Jerry! Disgusting. Make it right, Jerry. Make it grow! Fix all of mankind, Jerry! You're a magician, aren't you?
It's working! Watch it grow.
Give your body to the soil.
Working? Hooray! Party?
Indeed, you succeeded. You caused the withered soil to bear the fruit that we need to survive. Jeremiah, you truly are the magic moth that we had envisioned.
Well, actually, I'm...
No matter how strange you may appear.
What? Thanks, but...
You seek the portal.
No, so there it is.
We once entered this world through that rift. The world you are going to find there, the one we left behind us, has grown. Terribly cold.
But I didn't bring my code.
The power of our unhatched high priestess will protect you.
She's lying to you. She's hoping you'll die of the elements. She knows exactly what you are, Jerry, and she said you're gonna die with these secrets. Time to make it right, Jerry. Let's go.
By the time you return from the cold, you will find this world changed. I can sense that destiny is drawing closer.
Dun dun dun.
If you're still looking for something in this world, as you know it, do not enter the portal just yet. Will you pass through the rift?
Uh-oh. It's gonna be our last chance to be able to do things, basically.
The portal stands open for you. Come back whenever you desire.
Point of no return, boyos. "31 of 32, motherfucker. There's one I have yet to find." He told just. Don't let the leprechaun upset you? Golden Boy series. Oh. To kill everyone, Jerry. And the mole. Shit. There's like one more little jewel drop that's just laying around and I don't know where. Flutter, flutter. You ate it, god damn it, Fed! Now we have to wait 8 hours for you to piss that back out. You're gonna have to be the one to get it.
If you do not, will you pass?
Ready.
Yes, I'm ready. I've got everything I need.
Sweet.
See you later. Thanks.
Must not taste much if water tastes sweet to you.
Perhaps he will soar higher than anyone else. Then not even fire will singe his wings. But first he will take a deep fall, and no one will be there to aid him.
They haven't been to anyway, so what's the difference?
Where am I now?
Chewy.
It's freezing.
Freezing.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm not the least bit cold, and I've still got my wings.
That's the first sign of hypothermia.
The moss protection seems to work.
First, it's not feeling cold, and then it's hallucinations, and then, you know, death.
Not a nice place for a hike. I bet there are wolves around, and ice witches, and now I am cold after all.
A statue there. See him peeking out?
Hey, what is that thing?
Hey, mate. A ghost.
Nothing's whispering here.
It's not? Are you sure?
Just dig a little further. Oh, it's a statue.
There we are. Now we're gonna listen. Now we can listen. Mortal awakens me. Speak to me, mortal.
You are the first statue that actually wants to talk to me.
Yeah. I am not a statue. I am a forgotten god. Thor? Odin?
What kind of god are you then?
I must be a mighty god, or I could not have lasted here for this long. I weathered frost and storm.
I don't mean to be rude, but are you sure you aren't just a statue? Whoa!
Just a statue? How dare you? But perhaps you are right. Perhaps I only bear the likeness of a god. Perhaps I am nothing but a piece of rock that will finally burst in the cold. Way to go, Jerry. Made him feel bad.
Where am I anyway?
This land was dedicated to my kin. They say that a root of the world tree reaches all the way into these mountains. Supposedly, that is where we came from. Long before the cold. I was worshipped as a god. It's tough to be a god.
I need to move on, you know.
Go now, mortal. I shall continue to brave these freezing times. Okay, you have fun with that. I'll come back when I inevitably need you to, electrocute a tree, I guess. Congrats, Jerry, you gave him an identity crisis. Well, he already doesn't have much going for him. Sitting in the cold and snow. Is that a human?
I could swear I just saw a boy mix a young boy with wings. Oh, great. Now I'm completely losing
I'm just a
my mind.
fatty. No human. Haven't seen one of you in a while.
May I disturb you for a moment?
Oh, great. Not only am I talking to myself, but now I'm also beginning to hallucinate.
I'm Jerry Hazelnut, a fairy.
But I'm not a hallucination. I'm Jerry Hazelnut.
Magician fairy.
Hazelnut. Of course. I am definitely losing my mind.
What are you doing here, all by yourself, in the middle of nowhere?
What do you think? I'm wasting my time. I've been waiting for the polar whale for weeks, but it's no wonder I can't find it. My equipment broke down, and today is Christmas Eve, and I promised to call home. Darn it.
I know how it feels when you have something incredibly important to do before you get to go home.
The boy with the wings and the top hat seems to understand. I think my radio isn't working. If I tell this to anyone...
Well,
Can
anyway.
I be of assistance in some way?
Can you fly me home?
No.
I don't think so. These wings aren't real, you know.
Yes, that's what I thought.
I'm sorry.
Well, I guess I'll just leave you here alone in the cold,
Well,
being
on my
crazy.
way, then.
All right. I hope hallucinations don't get cold. You're not even wearing a jacket.
No, I'm under the protection of the moths.
Oh, of course. I should have known.
Logical. Broken radio.
The thing appears to be broken.
Okay, you're only imagining the boy. That's just your hormones playing tricks on you, telling you it's time to have children.
What? Lady, you're not okay. You're not okay at all.
Explore the Antarctic and find the polar whale, and everything will be fine, so I get to be home for the holidays. No worries. Do I
Scrub?
even hear what I'm...
A frozen, barren shrub. Seems to be
Cool.
all that grows here. Looks like it was hit by lightning more than once.
Probably by the god that you so ruthlessly mocked, Jerry.
The water looks like it would freeze anything that touched it. This is scary.
Spooky. Does it talk? Nah. Kinda has eyes, but... Spoopy.
I will explore the
Harp?
Antarctic and find the polar whale, and everything...
Ooh.
It says that under extreme weather conditions, electrical power supply will not be guaranteed.
Yeah, it seems foolish, granted where she is.
When it gets too cold.
I'd already gotten that far.
Not very useful then.
On the crate, it says, Project Polar Whale. Top secret research materials. I'm going to take one of the strings of lights.
In my thesis, it all sounded so convincing. Attract an almost extinct species with lights, and now I've been freezing my butt off for weeks and nothing works. Darn it!
She sure can keep her sweaters clean despite the circumstances. Good for her.
Now it almost looks like a Christmas tree.
I knew it. You're my guilty conscience, right? I do realize it was a mistake to work over the holidays. Those horrible old dirtbags from the university. It's all their fault.
Ah, college struggles. Delightful.
Do I even hear what...
Now what?
Plug it in, plug it in.
It's plugged in. So far, so good.
Empty crate. Let's go make a god angry again. That's the realest thing I heard in this game. I mean,
I wonder how long it's been stuck in the snow.
not much else can be, really faked, can it now? So, you're a god, you say?
I don't... Are you
Nice,
Oh,
thanks, mate.
The lights on the Christmas tree are glowing. The lightning bolts must have reloaded the battery.
Guess you're Jesus now. Well done, lad. How dare you?
You know, I think you're more than just a statue after all. Thank you.
See? Got a little bit of praise. That's all God needs. A little bit of praise to be real.
Is that you?
Marie! My goodness. It's so good to hear your voice. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you.
Oh, Alice, listen. The whole family is here with me, and they're all just happy to know you're alive and wow. Me too.
But I promised.
Hey, remember those words? Hope is like a candle, a light in the window.
It guides the heart on its way home.
Exactly. I know it's not easy right now, but at least you've still got hope, right?
You always know how to cheer me up.
That's what I'm here for.
Ooh. What a show.
Marie, the whale, it's here. What should I do?
Girl,
Take a picture, you dummy.
you're a researcher. Get your shit together. What's up, whale? Been running from Abraham? Is that his name? Crazy man with a harpoon?
The song! He will open the portal for me. He says,
will?
I've already learned everything there is to learn here. Yes. I think I know how the next spell works.
You do? Okay. I think the cold's getting to you, Jerry. Learn to spell. To use it, open the inventory and click on the Glimmer of Hope spell. Oh, could you get any more cheesy?
Oh, light in the dark.
Ta-da! All good?
This is incredible.
See, it was worth it. Merry Christmas, Alice.
Merry Christmas and goodwill to all.
Scraggly little Christmas tree.
This gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Merry Christmas.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Wow, it looks so beautiful.
Okay. Back we go. Everything will be fine. No matter what the moth said. Here we go. Back to Mousewood.
That was the full spell. I wonder if I can go home now.
I can't believe this is actually a Christmas game. Surprise! Didn't expect the holiday feels, did you?
You came back from the cold. You no longer require Moonlight's protection against that.
Whoops.
But she cannot protect you from this wingless.
But that's a Marquis de Hoto.
Marquis de Hoto. In the world from whence we came, he has a different name.
The Cold One.
He was willing to let us freeze to death.
Ooh.
But ladies, there must be some misunderstanding. Some ridiculous misunderstanding,
Quiet.
which indeed we have no time to explain.
Quiet. We shall move on, and you cannot stop us.
Go ahead.
You take the lead, Hespera. Jerry, you are a moth, even if one cannot always see your wings. You saw to it that we have enough nourishment to raise our High Priestess in a safe place. Look into my eyes. He is going to betray your trust. With the first promise the Cold One breaks, an abyss will open.
Are you gonna summon Cthulhu? That's what Jerry is for, isn't it? He's the final sacrifice! For Cthulhu!
The Cold One? But you don't even know me. Jerry, these moths don't know me.
Why did the moth say that I shouldn't trust you?
That was nonsense. Insulting nonsense. Jerry, trust me. We really haven't got much time. You learned your 4 spells.
A noble death.
And now your greatest test awaits you.
Yet another test.
Jerry, I cannot grasp it all myself yet, but there is great danger brewing.
Yes, I know now where the crows come from. We could help Mousewood.
Mousewood? There's more than that at stake. Much more.
I want to go home, just for a bit.
What?
I want to go home.
Jerry, you cannot go home now.
But you said that I could return home soon.
If we keep wasting our time, then...
Another nail in the coffin.
No, that was the last nail.
Oh no!
You must break the spell. You alone can stop me. Apprentice magician.
Oh no! He left me all alone.
Okay.
I want to go home.
What's the amazing news? Oh, what is your purpose? To pass butter?
I'm big again. I'm back home. Ah, that's the leaf the Marquis left behind. Luckily. Oh man. But what happened here?
Someone just fucking dumped all their unused fridges. To make someone remember why they're here. And to remember that they know who they are in life. To trigger that spark in their head, and that they mean to them well to themselves and on this planet. That's quite a purpose. Everyone loves a spiritual guru.
Who would dump old refrigerators in our woods? And where's the sleeping toad?
Buried.
What? Who would dump old refrigerators in our woods? And where's... The owl's wall. It looks like it always does, but the town looks totally different. What happened here? I feel... ill.
Looks mighty grey, that's for certain. AKA, I love to make others
The
feel
owl's
better.
wall's still here.
I think that's a good purpose. Eee. Yep.
The city looks like a huge grey wave rolling towards me. But my school is still there. The tree. But it's always been here. Now it's just... gone.
Statue, what have you to say? This is my night, isn't it? I can't see so well. Because one of your eyes is gone. I'm so hungry. But is this my nut? Can't see so well. Looks like the end of the world happened. It's a little sad. I know you. I like you. Everything is different. The world is changing. Will we be able to keep up? I wish you luck. Whoa, what has happened here? Why does the smoke spread? Everything changed there. And it's changing here, too. And I am between. Jerry leaves home for one afternoon and turns to this.
Cool. My rose hips are finally dry. Now I have itching powder.
Eh?
Strange. You can almost see his face in it.
Oh, he's back. How can that be? Is he able to understand what happened here? I am not. The other human. A woman. She waited for you. But we have not seen her for a long time now. Fucking told ya! He's a runaway now! Do you think he understood? He has no choice.
Construction sites? But we live here.
I don't think you do, Jer Bear. Looks pretty fucking decrepit.
Oh no. No, no, no. What happened here?
No blackberry pie today.
That's me. Desperately seeking Jeremiah Hazelnut. Missing for 8 months. Missing for 8 months? Oh no.
At least 8.
House. Everything looks so different. How can this be? Mom! She must be here somewhere.
Oh no, Jerry. No, she isn't. I remember you.
What happened here, dwarf?
The home decay. Too long were you gone. Too late for dinner. Not dinner!
Hi.
Too late for a good night kiss.
He promised I would be back in time.
Too late for school.
The Marquis. He said I would be back in time.
Too late for a farewell. I saw her many years ago. One last time she waited here. I heard her.
Where have you gone, my little darling? Forgive me. I have to go. I can't stay here without you. Forgive me, please. And don't forget me.
Mom.
Don't forget me, my darling, darling son.
Damn, first her husband, then her son. More. More I do not know.
Promise.
Horrible reality. Just everywhere. The horrible reality.
I've had it with everything.
Jerry. You can't give up hope, Jerry. You give up hope, you'll be no better than these mushrooms lying here.
I've had it with everything.
Well, don't you worry, Jerry. We've got just the mental manipulation spell just for this occasion. Top you right up.
On a day in summer vacation, anything is possible.
Where have you gone, my little darling?
Don't worry, Jerry. Everything which is lost will turn up again.
In darkest night that's black and cold, that's where the stars shine brightest. Did you know that, Jerry?
Jerry! Wake up, sleepyhead!
Like I always say, a single hop is not that hard. And many hops in a row can get you anywhere. But we could use my bike as well. You must break the spell. You alone can stop him.
I will be back in time for dinner, Mum. I promise. Anything's possible in a day on summer vacation, and I've still got 2 days left. I have to go back to Mousewood. I'm sure the old magician will know what to do.
Determination, Jerry. That's what gets you ripe for the tree. But I think I will have to leave you on that suspenseful note. For now. I do think then next time will be our last session of Night of the Rabbit. What excitement, what thrills! Tomorrow, I have something, a little special sneak peek for you. A little special sneak peek tomorrow, and then we'll be doing some more, Nino Kuni, the guy put. Tree type. I think has become indoctrinated into the cult of the tree. Cult of the world tree, that's fine. It's fine. Until then, I will see you tomorrow, late at night, as usual. Kai, congratulations on your purpose in life. Stick with it, it's a good one. To the rest of you, go the fuck to bed. We love the tree here. Go the fuck to bed if it is your bedtime, or get the fuck up if it's your morning. And I will see you all in hell.